Yep. Democracy, what now? Number 57. I'm listening to this Christmas song. And again, I'm not Christian and I'm not pro-consumerism. But when I listen to Christmas music, you know what I find? I imagine a nice family scenario in my head. You know, like a nice family getting along, doing their own little activities as they listen to the music by the campfire. Something I never had. And many of you don't or will have less and less. You know, one of the songs was a Santa Claus for President. So I want to be clear again, because I heard some of the stats in the States, like let's say people are very disappointed with Biden and his Democratic Party, that, you know, although many in the Democratic Party don't agree with Biden, you know, it kind of makes a democracy look bad if they voice that out, which is an example of when you have parties in a democracy instead of independents, which I talked about in a past vlog on democracy, is you have no choice but to continue to devolve your own proto-society. But anyways, it says that people, you know, they're not going to go vote for Trump, right? Because, you know, maybe he's not 1 foot in the grave like Biden is, but he's obviously self-serving. His ego is really what he wants you to continue to vote for. You know, he's not altruistic, you know, at extremes. And you know, like an honest way to define Hitler is a lot of people thought he was a buffoon and incompetent, and that's what he really proved himself to be consistently, and that's a similarity with Trump. Okay, so again, the villains of history are not one individual. They're the norm. The norm actually is sick up here, which allows people like this to repeat these cycles of history. And I'm not saying Trump would behave in the same way of hatred that Hitler did based on what was socially acceptable at the time. And I'm not saying people agreed when I say this, but people weren't shocked enough at every stage of the escalation of violence to actually do something about it. I see protests in the USA right now where it's not okay for Israel to do what it's doing. But again, they're the minority. They're not winning. So again, I'm talking about a proto-society as a collective, still repeating these cycles of history. Anyways, I want it to be very clear, because it said in one poll that, you know, if people don't want to vote for Biden that have been Democratic in tendency for voting, and there's no alternative, is they won't go vote at all. And again, it shows, you know, democracy, when you're voting for the lesser of multiple evils or incompetence, is not a successful concept for the people primates to undertake democracy, right? You know, it'd be nice if after Loki did all this personal development that he would come to become the leader of Earth, because he'd do a better job than anybody that is a member of the species I share DNA with at this time, and he'd have the abilities to back it up. So, you know, that's kind of a fictional scenario that would save us and maybe reverse the Anthropocene, because we can't do it ourselves. So I want to be very clear that people should go vote, but either write one of two things. One, no suitable candidates. Or two, I vote for Santa Claus. Because if Santa Claus will really reward the good and punish the bad and has some sort of supernatural ability to always be right about this, you know, that's how silly it is. So either give them a candidate, because some places have a dog as a mayor in the States, you know, I think. So, or no suitable candidates. How can we function as a, and then write your name and email. Okay, or whatever coordinates to be reached. And then insist after that for your election committees to report these findings. So that means take back your democracy in this way. I mean, if Santa Claus exists, you know, there might be a lot of people in the States that believe this. Maybe he's going to help you now, because he's going to say, okay, these guys are ready to be good, and I'm going to add my supernatural abilities to help them, because, you know, as I'm going to talk about miracle babies being bombed before they can help you, if such a thing exists at a later vlog. You know, you guys are really, Anthropocene is up here. Okay, I'm not kidding.